what did you think about them today? Because obviously Tony mentioned 73 years it's been since they lost 5 on the bounce. It was a little bit worrying, wasn't it, when Frankfurt scored first there?
Wasn't a great start from them to go 1-0 down, but give credit to Frankfurt, it was a well-worked goal. When you talk about playing through pressure, the bravery, and getting into that midfield pass, Liverpool's midfield couldn't recover at all. They went 1-0 down, but they come back into it. And for me, I think probably it's more about Ekitike. He has been their most impactful signing in this window. He wasn't the name that everyone was associating with Liverpool when the transfer window was open. It was all about Isak. Ekitike was a bit of a surprise when he came in, but he's risen to the occasion because the goal he took, it wasn't an easy goal. And Grella will tell you, when you run with the ball from your inside your own half as a striker and you're running, you've got to go the whole length of the pitch and then recompose yourself in that vital moment, keeping in control. He showed all of that. And for me, I feel disappointed for him that he didn't start in that big game against Manchester United because I felt that he should be the one that's in the team. But overall, the performance for Liverpool was get a win. They needed to get a reaction after losing to Manchester United, their greatest rival, and that's what they did today. And I won't say to get too high or too low, because the reality of it, without being no disrespectful, Frankfurt didn't really challenge them as much. Very small moments, but it isn't a game you can reflect on too much because Frankfurt have been just hemorrhaging goals anyway domestically in the Bundesliga. But it was a win to get the confidence back, do the right things. You got Van Dijk getting on the score sheet as well, captain who was criticised for his performance. Good win. Yeah,
Arne Slot made some big decisions as well. For the first time since 2017, Mo Salah didn't start back-to-back Champions League matches for Liverpool. Is it turning out now, Grella, do you think, to be the right decision for Liverpool? This is a look at their attack. I mean, he's got an embarrassment of riches, really, hasn't he, to choose from?
Yeah, he does there, and I don't even see Chiesa on there, by the way, who's been one of their top players. But Gakpo, Isak, Ekitike, Wirtz, Salah, all fantastic players. And I think sometimes, like for Mo Salah, it's okay. It's okay to rest a weekend. It's okay to play in the next game. It's okay. They're going to have so many important games. They come thick and fast from now to the end of the season. So I wouldn't look too much into it.
Though? Or will he see it as them going in a different direction?
I'm sure he will, with his experience and his age, that, you know, Frankfurt away is not necessarily the Champions League final either. I think the guys on that sheet could get that job done. So in some ways, it was almost bad that Frankfurt scored first, because then Liverpool was like, okay, let's go, let's get on the same page, and then obviously 5-1, a pretty big result. So they've got so much quality. For sure, there's an element to their game right now, though, that's a little shaky. You lose 4 games on the bounce, something that if they would have lost the 5th, you said 72 years, right?
I think 73, right?
73
years, whatever.
Yeah, it's a long time either way, right?
So there's an element there that maybe not Arne Slot could even put his finger on at the moment, that Liverpool is missing in some of these moments. But Frankfurt, I think there was never a worry for Liverpool tonight.
I wouldn't read too much into the Mo Salah thing unless we see this as habitual, moving down the line, right? We see a couple games in a row where it's still Mo Salah, right? And sometimes, you guys know, right, just a rest. You need a day where it's not completely on your shoulders and you get rejuvenated a little bit. I would think for Arne Slot, it's hard and really hard not to write Mo Salah's name on the team sheet, right? Because of what he's done. He's built so much equity. But at the end of the day, you also have to worry about winning and what the best team for that day is to win. So when you look at it at face value at 5-1, you have to say, okay, Arne Slot pushed all the right buttons today, right? I don't know if he's the kind of manager that has a conversation with Mo Salah. We don't have that, because last year, from day one, it was cruise control for Liverpool, all the way up until Champions League, right, when they end up getting knocked out. So we never had to see Arne Slot when things weren't going well, where he had to deal with Mo Salah maybe. We've never seen this side of him in the Premier League.
And we didn't think we were going to have to either, Nigel, because they won the first 7, didn't they, to start this new campaign. But they've got Brentford at the weekend. If you're Arne Slot, which front 3 would you go with?
I think I'd have to start at Ekitike, but basically I would say what Grella said. Quality is not a problem. The chemistry is the problem. It's finding the right team that fits. With the whole Mo Salah situation, for me, is we have to be honest about the situation. He hasn't been performing to the levels we've seen him. So sometimes as a manager, you have to make big decisions. Xavi Alonso's gone to Real Madrid. He's made big decisions. It used to be Vinicius Jr., and he's had no problem putting Vinicius Jr. on the bench. This is what comes when you're in the top 1% of footballing clubs. The manager who comes in there has to put on his big boy pants, and you have to make big decisions. But you have to base your decisions on performances and what you've seen. Mo Salah hasn't been performing. He has been a bit of a weakness in this Liverpool side, and you talk about both fullbacks are struggling, I think it's a chemistry thing. I think one person for me definitely that should be starting is Ekitike. I think he's been the most impactful signing that has come to Liverpool where he deserves the right to start. Alexander Isak, issues with how he left Newcastle to get there, not having a pre-season. Not having a pre-season is one of the hardest things to go through as a player, and I've experienced it. It is horrible. It takes a long time to get back to that high level, and by that time, the game's passed you by. And that has been a big disruptive element of him, not just for Liverpool, but also internationally for Sweden. So whether the whole thing of the price tag he has to start, Florian Wirtz came on today, the physicality of the Premier League is becoming a problem to him. He got an assist today, showed what he can do. That's what he needs to have, that mindset going into the Premier League. He needs to say, right, I might be a little bit lightweight in the physical element of it, but every time I get the ball, I will make something happen. And that's what he'll be judged on. If he's creating a lot more chances for his team and scoring goals, what we saw him do for Leverkusen, then the fans will kind of come off him a bit.
Yeah, speaking of scoring goals, Hugo Ekitike, you mentioned him scoring against his former club. Here he is speaking after the match in Germany.
You lit this stadium up so many times as a Frankfurt player. What was it like to score here as a Liverpool player so soon after you left?
You know, I had to. It was a great feeling. Obviously, it was something special today for me to come back. I would say at home. You know, I know everybody's here, so it was a special game for me. And obviously, win, that was important, and score my first goal also in Champions League. I'm really happy.
When you're one-on-one like that with only the keeper to beat, talk us through what you're thinking.
I just keep it cool, calm. You know, I do what I can do. I knew he will come and he will open the legs, so I tried just to put between the legs, and that worked. So yeah, that was good.
Oh, good night for him. He didn't celebrate, obviously, because he has so much respect for Frankfurt. Arne Slot said after the game, just an update on Alexander Isak, that he did come out with a groin injury. So maybe we're not going to get to see that partnership maybe in the near future after all, Tony.
Yeah, and it might come down to what Nigel was just talking about, preseason, right? Because you missed the ramping up period. You missed the building of yourself. Now you got to go from 0 to 60, right? Because now you're playing games and you're playing at the highest level. So they'll monitor that. You would like to think that, well, first you hope it's not serious. You'd like to think, though, if once he gets fit, the guy's a great player, right? We've seen it time and time again. How quickly can Arne Slot just integrate him into this side, which was always going to be hard, right? It was going to be hard, right? Especially Ekitike comes first and has a great start to the season. There were Liverpool fans saying, do we even need Isak at that point, right? Yeah. But Ekitike got injured for a couple of games, and now you're like, well, we got to fill that in. So he's got a lot of things to work on, Arne Slot. This is a real challenge for him right now.
We'll see what happens this weekend against Brentford.